Do you remember the day your child got married? The relief, and then that strange, hollow ache. You spent your whole life pouring everything into that child, going without so they could have more, and now they belong to a new home. Here is something almost no one tells you. After the wedding, some parents grow closer to their married children every year. Others watch the calls get shorter, the visits rarer, the warmth cool into something polite and distant. And the difference is rarely money, or distance, or luck. More often, it comes down to just a handful of sentences, 5 things wise parents almost never say to a married child. Say them, and you become the parent they must protect their marriage from. Stop, and they begin to trust you again. I'll show you all 5. The 5th changes everything, but the first is the worst, because most parents say it without ever knowing the damage it does. This isn't about loving your child less, it's about loving them more wisely. So before we begin, one thing. If you spent your life raising a child and never once heard "well done," let me say it now. You did well. If you'd like to say it to yourself, leave a 1 in the comments. Now let's begin. Number 5. Smart parents never say, "I don't need to call first, I'm your mother." It sounds like closeness, doesn't it? Like family should never need an appointment. But to a married couple, their home is the one place in the world where they can finally take off the armor and breathe. It is their shelter, not just a house. So when a parent walks in unannounced, it doesn't feel like love arriving. It feels like the walls just moved, like the one room that belonged only to them suddenly belongs to everyone. Psychologists have a name for this need: territory. Every human being needs one space where they are fully in control, safe from surprise. For a married couple, that space is home. And an unexpected knock at the door can quietly feel like a threat, even when it comes wrapped in a home-cooked meal. There is an old wisdom in this. Even in the strictest, most formal households of the past, a visitor would call out before stepping through the gate. Not because they were strangers, but to give the people inside a moment to make themselves ready. Respect was measured in that small pause at the door. The gift was never the food you carried in. The gift was the closed door you chose to honor. Consider a woman named Barbara, who lived just 15 minutes from her son. She loved dropping by with fresh food and little gifts for the grandchildren. She meant nothing but kindness. But over time, her daughter-in-law's smile grew tighter, until one evening her son opened the door exhausted and said, "Mom, please, just call first." Barbara drove home that night feeling like a stranger in her own child's life and ached for days. But here is what Barbara couldn't see through her hurt. Her son wasn't rejecting her. He was protecting the small private world he was building with his wife, the very thing every parent hopes their child will one day build. So instead of, "I don't need to call," try 5 gentler words. Is now a good time? That single question tells your child, "I respect your home and your marriage." And strangely, the more you respect that closed door, the wider they open it for you. Number 4, smart parents never say, "You never call anymore after everything we did for you." I know where this one comes from. It comes from missing them, from long, quiet evenings when the phone doesn't ring and you remember how the house used to be full. The feeling is real and you are not wrong to feel it. But listen to how it lands on the other side. To your child, those words don't arrive as love. They arrive as a bill, as if all those years of care and sacrifice were a loan and now the payment is coming due. And love that shows up as guilt never pulls anyone closer. It only teaches your child that calling home means being made to feel ashamed. So they call less, not because they love you less, but because every conversation now has a sting hidden inside it. The philosopher Epictetus, who was born a slave and became one of the wisest voices in history, taught that we should speak only when our words are better than our silence. Guilt is almost never better than silence. It may win the argument in the moment. but it slowly loses the very person you were trying to hold on to. So trade the bill for an invitation. Instead of "you never call," try something shorter and truer. "I've been thinking of you. I'm here whenever you need me." No debt, no pressure, just an open door and a warm light left on. An invitation makes a child want to come home. A guilt trip makes them dread the drive. It is the same love, but the opposite result. Number 3, smart parents never say, "That's not how you raise a child." This one is dangerous because it usually comes from experience. You did raise children. You kept them alive, fed, loved. So when you watch your grandchild do something you'd never have allowed, the words rise up almost on their own. But be careful, because to your child, this sentence doesn't sound like wisdom. It sounds like a verdict on their worth as a parent. The world of raising children has changed more than most of us realize. The sleep advice, the feeding, the discipline, the screens, much of it is genuinely different now. And your child is drowning in it, trying their best. When you say that's not how you raise a child, they don't hear a helpful tip. They hear you are failing at the one job you most want to do well. And nothing makes a young parent close the door faster than feeling judged in their own home. There is something else at stake too. Criticize how they parent, and they will simply stop letting you see it. They'll visit less, share less, leave the grandchildren with someone who doesn't make them feel small. The surest way to lose time with your grandchildren is to keep correcting how they're being raised. So unless there is real danger, true harm, not simply a different way of doing things, hold the correction. A grandparent's greatest power was never to be right. It was to be a safe, warm place the whole family wanted to return to. Being right is a small prize. Being welcome is everything. And when the urge to correct rises, try this instead. "You're a wonderful parent. Is there anything I can do to help?" That sentence does 2 things at once. It reassures your child that they are enough, and it hands them the dignity of asking for your wisdom instead of having it forced upon them. Offered wisdom is a gift. Forced wisdom is a criticism in disguise. Number 2, smart parents never say, "I don't like your husband, I don't like your wife," and every version of it are, "She's changed you. He's not good enough for you. Your family never did things that way." Maybe you even have real reasons. Maybe you see things your child cannot see yet, but this is one of the fastest ways in the world to lose a married child. Because the moment you attack their spouse, you force your child to choose a side, and they will almost always choose the person they married. Even if they secretly agree with you, your criticism makes them defend the marriage and defend it against you. What you meant as protection becomes a wall, brick by brick, between you and your own child. Consider a father who couldn't hold back his opinions about his son-in-law. Every visit, a comment, a little dig, a raised eyebrow, some helpful honesty. He believed he was defending his daughter. 3 years later, his son-in-law had quietly blocked his number, and his daughter, caught in the middle, had grown distant and worn down. "I thought I was protecting her," he admitted. "I was tearing down her home with my own hands." Now hear this clearly. If there is abuse, addiction, or real danger, that is different. Safety always comes first. But ordinary irritation is not danger. A spouse who is simply different from you, who does things your family never did, who has other traditions and other opinions, that is not a threat. That is just another human being your child chose to love. The wisest parents learn to say a hard, freeing sentence. "I may not understand everything about your marriage, but I will never make myself its enemy." That doesn't mean approving of everything. It means valuing your place in your child's life more than the fleeting satisfaction of speaking every opinion out loud. If you want to stay close, be a shelter, not a courtroom. And here is the surprising part. The parent who stops criticizing the spouse often becomes the parent the couple wants around the most. When your child never has to defend their marriage against you, they finally get to simply enjoy you. bite back the criticism, and you don't lose your child to their spouse. You gain a whole new family who feels safe with you. And now we come to number one, the worst of them all. Because this one can look at first glance like generosity, like love, like a parent's greatest gift. And that is exactly why it does so much quiet damage. Smart parents never say, "We paid for that, you know? We paid for that house. Who do you think covered the wedding? Where do you think that money came from?" Perhaps you never say it so bluntly. Perhaps it slips out sideways in a tense moment as a reminder. But the instant money comes with a memory attached, it stops being a gift. It becomes a leash. And a married couple can feel that leash tighten even when no one says a word out loud. The numbers here are staggering. In recent surveys, half of all American parents are still sending regular money to their grown children, an average of nearly $1,500 a month. Many are handing their children more than twice what they put into their own retirement. More than 40% report real financial strain because of it. They are quietly emptying their own future to fill their child's present. And here is the cruel twist almost no one warns you about. When you keep rescuing a grown child with money, you don't make them stronger. You teach them, without meaning to, that they never have to stand on their own, because you will always be there to catch the fall. Psychologists call it learned helplessness. The more you solve with your wallet, the weaker their own footing becomes. There is an old warning that the parent who leaves a child money often leaves them soft, while the parent who leaves a child strength leaves them standing. Money handed down can quietly rob a person of the very muscle they need to carry their own life. The most loving thing is not always the open wallet. Sometimes it is the strength you refuse to take from them. So hear this plainly, because it may be the most important sentence today. When you close your wallet with love, you finally let your child become a real adult. Protecting your own savings is not selfishness. It is the surest way to keep from turning your child into someone who resents you, because the money you give away today can quietly buy their distance tomorrow. So if you give freely, and then let it go completely. A true gift is given once and never mentioned again. The philosopher Seneca said a gift lies not in what is given, but in the heart of the one who gives it. If you cannot give without keeping the receipt in your pocket, it may be wiser and kinder not to give at all. A smaller gift with freedom beats a larger one with a string tied to it. So let's bring the 5 together. Wise parents never say, "I don't need to call first." You never call anymore after all we did. That's not how you raise a child. I don't like your husband, your wife. And most of all, we paid for that, you know. Not because they love their children less, but because they have learned to love them more wisely. This is the great shift of loving a grown child. When they were small, love meant holding on, holding their hand, holding the rules, holding the whole world together for them. But once they marry, love means opening your hand, not disappearing, not giving up, just releasing the parts of control that were never yours to keep. And yes, that release can feel like a kind of grief. You are allowed to feel it, but hear this, and let it settle deep. If your child can now build a life that does not revolve around you, that is not your failure. That is your masterpiece. You raised someone strong enough to love, to commit, to build a home of their own. You did the hardest job on earth, and you did it well. 100 out of 100 E's and then some. So stop apologizing. Stop aching over the empty chair. And here is the quiet miracle at the end of all this. The parents who stop competing, stop guilt-tripping, stop correcting, stop reminding, those are the parents adult children choose to keep close, not out of duty, not out of guilt, but because being near you finally feels safe. The less you grasp, the more they come home. So tell me, which of these 5 was the hardest to hear? The unannounced visits, the guilt, the parenting comments, the words about their spouse, or the money? Leave one word in the comments, just one. And remember this, your child's marriage is not your replacement. It is your child's new home. Wise parents don't stand in the doorway. They bless the home, they honor the door, and because of that, they are always, always invited back in. Thank you for being here.